Hey guys and gals, and welcome back to my playthrough of Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. Now, last we left off, I believe I romanced Cassia. Well, I basically, how do you say this? Completed her romance. She's now my official lover. And we arrived on Dragonis, where the Wassarian house is actually being, well, they were being, how do you say this? Accused of trying to assassinate the Rogue Trader and destroy the Protectorate. So, okay, so off screen I actually didn't do much. Basically, I just took a notepad and write down some things. So, Wassarian is the prime suspect. Drivestem, they're the ones who is accusing the Wassarians and has dirt on them. And then on the outside, I believe we found some servitors, which I believe one of the houses main specialty, because yeah, I believe one of the houses is linked to the ATMEC, so a lot of their, they have a lot of tech. I denied Drivestem's accusations for the Wassarians, of course, but now I have to play detective. So, hence the notepad. So, without further ado, let me ask Clementia first. As you draw close to the Wassarians, the warden step aside, bowing respectfully, allowing you to approach the Wassarian family. Clementia, tired and slightly disheveled, is the first to bow her head to you in deference. Several men and women behind her follow suit. Your lordship, the woman stammers, as if lost for words. Accept my most humble apologies for failing to greet you properly, and my thanks for agreeing to speak to me before making your final decision. The charges brought by the governor are severe, but I can only assure you of this and swear on my own honor we are not guilty of the crimes that House Wassarian is being accused of. Clementia, a hint of sorrow creeps into Abelard's voice, belying his stern facade. You were acting head of this family. You were supposed to take care of each and every family member, and now you are being accused of treason and collusion against the Rogue Trader, and the entire family is facing death. How could you let this happen? Are you truly guilty of this? Be honest, I won't tolerate lies. Clementia, if you know a member of your family is guilty of the crimes you are being accused of, Abelard, it is your family too, you know. The woman's words burn, and with defiance, my apologies. I should not lose my composure. No member of House Wassarian is involved in a conspiracy against his lordship. Honor and loyalty are not something we take lightly, and we know whom we serve. The governor claims you forged documents in the administratum. The fleet is the primary remit of House Wassarian. It is our responsibility. Logistics and supply routes are another area of our responsibility. We have no direct influence on the inner workings of the administratum. The first large-scale deliveries were cancelled after quantities of food were miscalculated by clerks in the administratum. Then we were faced with incorrect weather data and a meager fuel budget. It was clear that the cause of all these problems were the calculations performed by the administratum in one way or another. But no matter how many times we asked, we could not ever obtain any clarification on the matter. I found this letter on one of the bodies of the heretics who planned the attack. What can you tell me about it? When Clementia reads the letter, the Wassarians behind her read it over the shoulder. Your lordship, let us be frank. It would be foolish for me to try and orchestrate something like this, knowing how many wardens are patrolling your place. I would not have let myself or anyone in my family get involved in such a scheme. The attackers were high-functioning servitors, one that looked closer to ordinary humans. Do you know anything about them? Servitors, is that so? Clementia crosses her arms and furrows her brow. Deep in thought, I have encountered servitors that were indistinguishable from normal augmented humans, but only once. They were accompanying several members of House Grapak. If you're not guilty, who is? Who stands to gain from framing you? Anyone, really? Clementia replies with a bitter sigh. The other houses consider us unworthy of our position, and many would jump at the chance to get rid of us and gain control over what was once their domain. The planet's fleet and logistics, at the very least. Lady Theodora chose to grant noble status to House Wassarian, but the other houses, which have served in the expanse for millennia, did not welcome the decision. It has led to some difficulties. I want to find out what's going on here. But who the real mastermind behind all this? Where should I start? I'm afraid I cannot be of much help. Talk to the representative of other houses. Eavesdrops on their retinue. Perhaps you will hear something unusual. Okay.
I always have a backup plan.
Okay, so first of all, the servitors outside, high-end servitors, usually under the, well, usually the Grapax has them.
Keep your wits about you.
Let's see.
I always keep my options open.
You know what, let's talk to the drive stems first. Where are they? Oh, here you go. Cornelius. Governor. Governor Draftsdam is surrounded by his retinue, who are all dressed in expensive gowns and finery. The matching color scheme of their outfits and their striking physical resemblance amongst them suggests that they all came from one family. Your Lordship, thank you for giving this case your undivided attention. The Governor bows and the rest hastens to follow suit. I wish to hear your reason again. What makes you think the Wessarians are behind the plot against us? Well, against me. As soon as the logistical and economic problems gave rise to the initial rumors, we tried to find the person responsible for spreading the calls for Voigtvir's return. The investigation showed that some of the documents inside the administratum were forgeries. We can thank my son Cornelius for such astute observation. Your Lordship, the slender young man bows to you awkwardly and nervously licking his dry lips. I assure you that my humble person is undeserving of your attention. Cornelius holds a prestigious position at the Administratum Palace, and he was he who discovered the errors leading to the disrupt logistics. It also thanks to him that we found the perpetrators of the forgeries, who admitted to acting under orders of House Wessarian. Okay, wait a second, let me write this down. Okay, what do you make of this matter? I found, let's see, all of these assailants were high-functioning servitors. Such servitors are only employed by families close to the Adeptus Mechanicus. High-functioning servitors? Drastam ponders this, rubbing his chin with his thumb. Such servitors are indeed rare, and the Grapox do have them in their service, but this could have been done intentionally with an eye to confusing you. Anyone with the desire to sufficient funds can hire them. What do you make of this matter? I found it on one of the assailants. The Governor drives them peers closely at the blood-stained paper. It looks like another piece of evidence incriminating House Wessarian. Perhaps they truly did intend to kill you, or at least cause a stir to help them escape custody during the confusion that followed. Tell me about your son. Thank you for your interest, Your Lordship, but I am not worthy of it. The Governor's son bows and stands still as he nervously stares down at the floor. Son, show due respect. Forgive him, Your Lordship. This is the first time he has had the honor of attracting the attention of the rogue trader. Heinrich narrows his eyes and, glancing at you, shakes his head. Ooh. Tell me about your job. I manage documents and reports related to the economy of Dargonis. You probably know how scrupulous the workers of the Adeptus Administratums are. I'm afraid that a more detailed explanation of my duties would mirror the administrative process of the Administratum, too long and overly detailed. Cornelius tries to look you in the eye, but it is clearly hard for him to do so. There is something wrong with you. A man with a clear conscience won't do that. Like, they will look at you in the eye and say things. Like, even, like, who's Wessarian's granddaughter? Atya? Like, even she was looking me in the eye and talked to me. You have something to hide. How do you manage to find the forged documents in the bureaucratic hell that is the Administratum? Yeah. When compiling reports on one last cycle's supply chains, I noticed inaccuracies and discrepancies in the figures. With the help of the other clerks, I managed to find several other documents. Cornelius stammers and swallows noisily. Comprehensive data analysis have shown that the discrepancies were caused by intentional tampering with the data, thus leading to some logistical problems that were practically unsolvable. Father and I have managed to single out the Administratum clerks responsible for tampering with the data. Following a heated interrogation, they confessed that they were following the orders of someone from House Wessarian. Everything was supposed to look as though they were the ones suffering losses from the logistical and economic problems. But how does House Wessarian have access to the Administratum? There's no conceivable way they could do all of this in a place where they do not hold any power. Before replying, the Governor's son nervously adjusts his expensive frock coat. I think the right amount of money can open many doors. Cornelius, what is the true reason for your nervousness? The young man's pupils suddenly dilate. He stands at attention and replies to you in one breath. This is the first time I have spoken face to face with the rogue trader. I'm afraid of saying something wrong or forgetting something important. The Governor closely watches his son. His tone changes, now sounding strict and curt. Do you wish to tell the Lord Captain anything else? Anony. You know what? Heinrichs, time to bring out your rosary. Are you afraid of talking to me? Perhaps you would be more comfortable speaking to an interrogator of the Inquisition. It would be my pleasure to speak to the esteemed Cornelius Drivestam in private for his father's peace of mind. No, please, not that. Yes, I have something to say that I omitted before. The lie has gone too far, and I can no longer control it. The truth is that all the logistical problems were caused by a single error in the numbers. My mistake. What? Umbra looks genuinely shocked and enraged. When I discovered my mistake, it was almost impossible to restore the supply lines. Then I was approached by someone who said they were a friend. They did not give me their name, and I never saw their face. They promised to fix the problem, and all I had to do was pretend that the Wessarians were responsible for the mistake. As for the rest of the evidence, they promised to arrange it all, and Cornelius is suffocating with fear, unable to speak. Okay, let me write this down. Okay. So he messed up, and then someone approached him to basically say they will help them only if Cornelius, points his finger at the Wesarians. Gotcha. Umbra curls his hands into fists, the knuckles turning white. What have you done? How could you? Your lordship, he suddenly turns to you as if trying to shield his son. This is my fault. I trusted my son and have failed you in doing so. I beg you, have mercy. Abelard shakes his head, and you call my family's honor into question, Urban. Nevertheless, I harbor no desire to kick a man when he's down. Lord Captain, the confession you have obtained means the House of Sarian can now be cleared of all charges. But we still do not know who was behind the forgeries, the riots, the plots, and the assassination attempt. Someone is committing their foul deeds and sowing chaos right under your subjects' noses. To leave that stone unturned, it would be dangerous. What was this first approach to Cornelius? How did the two of you communicate? By letter. I received a letter out of the blue one day. It was unsigned, but the person writing already knew about my erroneous calculations. He offered to help me cover up my misdeed, and in return, I would name the Wesarians as one of the ones who had sabotaged the supply lines. All I had to do was gather together some documents and reports that were listed in one of the letters, and keep my mouth shut. So the perpetrator already knew about Cornelius' mistake before he even realized it. They knew... Okay, so they knew about the screw-up. They knew which documents to gather up, which means they must have somebody in the administratum, or at least they knew a lot of the processes and what, and the intricacies of the administratum. That's not. Umbra, your son has found the courage to admit his mistake. I will try and find some compassion for him in my heart. Thank you, Lordship. The governor bows low and gives his son a look full of bitterness and frustration. As for your position, I think you will be reassigned to a role requiring less responsibility. I shall return to you later. Okay, that clears things up. But then again, who killed him? Well, who tried to kill me?
Always keep your eye on the prize.
I mean, it could be drive stems. Let me talk to the yellow ones first. Grubpak. So, yeah, it's gonna be Grubpaks that... Yeah, Grubpaks with the AdMac guys. The lords and ladies structurally dressed in the color of House Grubpak are standing in a half circle around Toriana and her son Vincent. The bodies and faces of almost every member of this dynasty are covered in large ornate augmentics. Toriana Grubpak curtsies to you. Her mechanical voice sounded distant and indifferent. Greetings, your lordship. May the Omnissiah grant you understanding. With a click, her visor ocular swivels to the seneschal. Abelard, it must be difficult to you to be here under these circumstances, with your house standing accused of such a grave crime. My family, Lady Toriana, is yet to be found guilty of anything. The verdict is for the rogue trader to reach. Do you think the accusations against the Wesarian family are true? I will not take such a responsibility upon myself and rule on their guilt, your lordship. I do think Governor Drivestam's accusations are worthy of consideration, however. In your opinion, which nobles might have the reason to be party to such a conspiracy? She thinks for several moments before replying. Pardon my bluntness, your lordship, but I will answer truthfully. It could be anyone. Greed, fear, and ideals can drive even the most loyal subjects to do the unthinkable. I've examined the bodies of the assailants that were killed today. All of them were high-functioning servitors. Such servitors are only employed by families closely adeptus mechanicus. Is that so? It is impossible to read Toriana's emotions in her heavily augmented face, but her sudden turn towards her family betray her confusion and surprise. Perplexed whispers bounce from one family member to another. Impossible. We came here by ourselves, without any servitors. We know nothing of it. So the servitors came alone. Okay. Let me write this down. Your lordship, thank you for informing us this. You are absolutely right. My house has indeed been endowed with high-functioning servitors, a blessing from those who revered the Omnissiah, but today none of our house members were accompanied by them. I found this note on the bodies of one of the attackers. What are your thoughts on it? Toriana's mechanical fingers gripped the paper. Officially, high-functioning servitors are employed by my house and my house alone. If such units were to attack the rogue trader, suspicion will instantly fall upon the Grubpaks. I assume that this is what the Wesarians intended to happen, but they did not expect that servitors will have these letters on them. Okay, I shall take my leave. Oh, okay. This is...
Is there money to be made?
Have you seen Helen today? We came here together, but I haven't seen you since. I missed out on all the fun. Just hurry up. Okay.
I always have a backup plan.
Anything to say, you guys? The girl dressed and really have everything. Okay. Really? Helen? Yes, I did see him briefly. He looks awfully tense, like he was fit to explode. I think he was headed towards the entrance hall where the altars are, do you think that he knows something about the Wasarian's crimes? Awfully tense.
Yes.
Oops. Okay, let me speak with Sourbax first. Where's Sourback? Here. Macarius Sourback. Before bowing you, Sourback scrutinizes you with a bitter, judgmental look, your lordship. Hector Sourback, looking like a younger copy of his father, stands at a slight distance, close to his mother. An expensive yet understated dress serves to highlight the dazzling beauty of Macarius' wife, Regina Sourback. Sourback stares at Gurlit and revulsion flickers across his face. Do you believe the Wasarians were guilty? Certainly, Sourback replies without hesitation. Governor Drive them possess proof of their guilt, and they have no means by which to refute it. Even if I were to entertain the idea that the Wasarians are being framed, how much longer would their house have lasted anyway? If it is so ill-prepared for treachery. He addresses Abelard with a slightly mocking tone. My advice to House Wasarian would be not to appeal to the rogue trader for help, but instead to simply accept their fate and not make matters worse for themselves. I cannot remember Hyphostain from Valencia seeking your advice on what House Wasarian should do in this situation. Pay attention, Macarius. Focus on the rogue trader's questions. Let's look at Macarius. Despite Sourback's attempts to suppress his revulsion, the presence of inhumans in your retinue undoubtedly reflects his fervent desire to eliminate the enemies of humanity. Okay. Do my companions distress you, Sourback? Sourback's face turns red, his furious gaze trained on you. Free-flowing rages boils in every word he said. The rogue trader is the chosen servants of the Emperor and one of humanity's best. By surrounding yourselves with depraved Xenos who scorn the very exceptionalism of humankind, you teeter on the brink of heresy, and no privilege granted by the Emperor can blind others to that fact. The thought of existing in the same sector as Xenos is revolting, but their presence in your retinue here, in the capital city of Von Valencia's trade dynasty, enrages me. To have Xenos sully the streets of this planet after what we have endured, and endured the production of the rogue trader no less. Sourback takes a deep breath and exhales noisily. His rage subsides, but his burning gaze remains fixed on you. With a pained and distressed expression, Regina glances at her husband, her hands worrying the ruffles of her dress. Your hatred for me is so obvious, Sourback. It is grounds enough to charge you with heresy. I am hearing this from you, the Emperor's servant who flouts all that is sacred, the person who seems to think the laws of appearance are meaningless. Macarius, now is the time where you would do well to stop and not make matters worse for yourself. Who apart the Wasarians could have motive to conspire against me? House Drivestam wished to expand their clout. House Korpak, who lost their influence after the Kievagama incident. Sourback looks back at his family, then turns to you again. House Sourback, whose patriarch is too direct in his communication with the rogue trader. Anyone could have the reason to conspire against you, and equally they could have none. It is not a question of motive, but of loyalty. Each of your subjects has sworn an oath of loyalty to you, so whose sincerity do you doubt? The assailants sent to the palace were rare high-functioning servitors. Do you think the Korpaks could be behind the attack? Sourback looks away briefly and replies to you with a curt laugh. I've always thought the Toriana too weak to participate in such risky ventures, but it seems I was wrong about her. Okay. Regina? Okay. Macarius. Nothing. Who the hell are you?
Rise to the top, or get left in the dust.
It was terrible. It seemed ordinary low-ranking aristocrats with their tasteless gaudy clothes, and then they pulled out weapons. God gracious, pass me the wine, please. I don't remember anything else. Throne has mercy. I'm quite overcome. I need to sit down.
Let us not dawdle.
Oh, great. Okay, let's go talk to Toriana again. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's go talk to...
I always keep my options open.
Let's go see where the dude was. Aha, here. Here we go. Galen Korpak. Wait, these things... Okay, they used to be las guns, but suddenly they changed. Whatever.
I guide humanity between the stars.
Okay, let me say first. Galen. A finely dressed man in middle years is kneeling in front of the altar, his palm folded in prayer close to his face. The implant-free parts of his skin are a sickly blue color. The nobleman does not react to your presence. He does not lift his head. He does not blink. He doesn't even breathe. Only when you draw closer do you realize he's dead. Okay. Abelard looks at his man. looks at the man, his eyes grim, the colors of House Grapak. I do not believe he decided to take his own life in such an extravagant way. As far as I know, there is a warden post here, but I do not see any wardens. The seneschal looks around. There is no one to ask about what happened here or with whom the man spoke before he died. I would like to ask Urban where the palace guard suddenly disappeared to. Heinrich leans towards the dead man, a familiar sight. There are poisons that rapidly damages the nervous system, causing paralytic spasms throughout the body once injected. The victims usually suffocate slowly and painfully, unable to call for help. Let's do this. Okay. There are no visible wounds on the body, but near the edge of the golden trim collar, you notice a tiny puncture on his blue skin, likely a wound caused by a thin needle. Needle? So somebody just brought a syringe with them? I mean, if that's the case, everybody here is basically suspect. Okay, search the pockets. You discover a secret pocket in the lining of the dead man's luxurious jacket. You find a folded piece of paper hiding behind the handkerchief embroidered with the initials HG. Okay, short note. Look around. You're almost certain that the wardens were usually stationed nearby, but their post is empty. Where have they gone? It would have been an excellent question to put Governor Drive down. Okay, what is that note? Does King stroll? No. Among his notes, journal observations. Oh wait, here you go. Make sure that the rogue trader is attacked by someone loyal. It should appear as if he was all staged to let the Rosarian's family escape. This is the last assignment. Soon your debt will be repaid in full. Let me write that down. Okay.
Always keep your eye on the prize.
Let's go back to drive stem. As you approach them, okay. No. Why can't I ask about the freaking... Okay, whatever. Toriana?
Keep your wits about you.
Okay, okay. I discovered a dead body, a member of your house, right here in my palace. He died kneeling in prayer. Toriana covers her open mouth with her hand in surprise and turning to her family looks for someone among them. Helen, it can be. Helen. What? Helen, was it? Tell me about him, Toriana. Helen is one of the lower-ranking members of House Grapak. Despite his advanced age, he never held high office, but he was forever striving to better his position, even beyond his abilities. Many members of my house struggle to cope with the misfortune that befell Kiavagama and our family. Some members could not reconcile themselves to our new positions. Helen was one of them. What could have happened to him? Toriana's visors are fixed on the floor, her fingers restlessly clutching at the fabric of her dress. Toriana, it's time to keep silent. The time to keep silent is long gone. The future of the Von Valencia's trade dynasty and your house are both at stake now. We lost Kiavagama, a truly devastating blow to every member of House Grapak. I lost all hope for the future, and my kin lost their sense of purpose. We needed time to recover and chart a new course for ourselves. We were and still are more than capable of doing that, but I will not deny the other houses has offered us their assistance for their own self-serving ends. Perhaps Helen decided to take them up on one of their offers behind my back. The seneschal bows ever so slightly and speaks quietly so that only you can hear him. Lord Captain, the Grapaks, or perhaps only some of them, are definitely involved, but I suspect that they were not behind the plot against you. Helen Grapak could be nothing more than a puppet in the hands of a deft puppet master. We must expose whoever that is before if we are to prevent the pestilence of heresy from spreading further. What do you suggest we do? You already have grounds to suspect House Sourback on the conspiracy and orchestrating the attempt on your life. Governor Drivestem's decision to unjustly accuse House Osirian also cast doubt on his competence. Tell him that you're ready to pronounce your verdict. Before you do so, I suggest focusing on each house in your indictment speech, and I shall observe them. Okay? I have known these people far longer than you have. I know all their gestures, habits, and behavioral quirks. I'm sure that I will be able to determine which one of them is responsible for the rise based on their behavior. Okay. Can I ask Drivestem about the guard now? Okay. I found a dead body in my palace. A member of House Grapak was slain in front of an altar. Do you know anything about it? A member of House Grapak was killed in the palace? And no one knows. The governor's eyes bulged in surprise, and no one knows but how. There were wardens posted at every altar. There was no one near the deceased. The wardens had left their post. Do you order them to do so? Emperor forbid, your lordship. The governor helplessly threw his hands up in the air as if to signify his powerlessness. Your negligence is stunning, Urban. an assassination attempt followed by a mysterious death. Yet here you are, oblivious to everything. The rogue trader can justly accuse you of allowing a noble to be killed in the palace and of failing to even notice it. It may be so, but it is for the rogue trader to accuse me of negligence, not you. The governor addresses you once more. Your lordship, accept my deepest apologies for my imprudence. Nothing matters more to me than my honor. I shall send the servants to deal with all of this immediately. Did you see Macarius Sauerback today before I arrived? Macarius? I did not see him myself, but perhaps. The governor turns around and asks his family, have any of you seen him today? The nobles talk quietly among themselves, and then a middle-aged woman with a tall, extravagant hairstyle replies to you, I think my sister and I saw him sitting on the bench some distance away from the palace entrance. We think he was accompanied by a gentleman, but forgive us, your lordship, we cannot make out his face. Lead me to that place. Of course, consider it done. Okay. Can you walk any faster?
Rise to the top, or get left in the dust.
Oh great, I have to deal with this.
This could be an opportunity.
The Sarahs are nothing more than a bunch of upstarts. What have I done? What?
My success was
recognize this-
inevitable.
I recognize this. Wait, House Sauerback usually served this wine. So Sauerback was sitting here with another gentleman drinking
Is there
some
money
wine.
to be made?
Okay, I cannot ask you anything now. Okay, Sauerback, what do you have to say for yourself? Yeah, let's do this. I discovered a dead body in my palace. A man of House Grapak was killed while praying to the Emperor. He has a note on him. Do you know anything about it? Macarius looks at the note without taking it from your hands and replies without hesitation. No, I know nothing about this note.
I always have a backup plan.
Okay, so let me review the evidence first. First of all, Wasarian, they're basically the scapegoats. Drive stems, they say they got the dirt, but eventually Cornelius is the one who, messed up the paperworks. And somebody approaches him to help him clear that paperwork on the condition that he accuses House Wasarian. Okay. Then I have House Grapak, who is the one with the servitors. And they are basically in deep financial problems. So much so that some of the other houses approach them to, help finance their, I believe, rescue effort. To, help them financially. And somebody, well, Helen Grapak basically took that offer and sent some servitors with guns in basically towards my palace and get shot down. And then what else? Nothing really. And
Always keep your eye on the prize.
Sauerback, well, the Patriarch doesn't like me a lot. And so far they're the ones who's basically, free, they're basically the ones without any major problems. Okay, let me speak to Clementia first. Discover the body of Helen Grapak here in this palace. Okay. The youngest member of House of Sarian crowded around to examine the note in Clementia's hands. All present are beset with worry and bewilderment. I'm not sure if it's relevant, but perhaps you should know. Since the fall of Kavagama, House Grapak has been faring poorly, to say the least. They have been looking for ways to enhance their influence and to improve their lot, including asking for help from the other noble houses. They have not approached us, of course. It is shameful to seek help from those you consider your inferiors, you understand. Perhaps the Drivestem and the Sauerbacks can tell you more about this letter.
I always keep my options open.
I don't know, everything is pointing at Sauerback. Yeah, everything is basically pointing at Sauerback. So the from his dynasty structure, we've never given anyone cause to doubt for our loyalty. According to current action, the expression of a memory repository of servitor will take 3 center. What? Will take 3 standard Terran cycles. Data decoding will take 30 standard Terran cycles. Sarek.
Keep your wits about you.
Okay,
Is there money
let's
to be
see.
made?
So, yeah, nobody's guilty in this regard. So Wasarian, obviously innocent, drives them incompetent, but somehow innocent. Grapak, in deep, well, they're trying to improve their lot, but somewhat innocent. They are, you know, they're the dagger, but they're not the hand wielding the dagger. So that leaves Sourback. Like, they don't really have a lot of dirt on them.
Let us not dawdle.
Like, they don't have a mess in this whole debacle. So yeah, I think Sourback's the ones that you know, ordered the whole thing. Summon everyone, I'm ready to pronounce my verdict. Okay, Governor Braston tensely bows and replies without hesitation. Understand, your lordship. Allow me to prepare everything. Many faces are watching you. Each and every one of them await the rogue trader's verdict with bated breath. The charges brought by Governor Drastem are fabricated. House Viserion has nothing to do with the orchestration of the riots or the plot targeting the rogue trader. However, the real perpetrators are here in this very room. The seneschal nods to you as if urging you to continue. Then shifts his piercing gaze towards the crowd before you. Governor Drastem, you have exhibited inexcusable negligence by failing to question the possible involvement of any other family besides the Viserions. We have discovered that the attempt on my life was orchestrated by a member of House Grapak. The governor closed his eyes, fear and shame getting the better of him. Some faces in the crowd look confused and surprised, but you see more wearing expressions of self-satisfied contempt. Apollo looks at the governor and to you and suddenly shakes his head, as if to say, no, it is not the Draftstam pulling the strings here. You know what? Let's dig more into Draftstam. Like, he's an a-hole, and I like the Wasarians. The governor closes his eyes and okay. What? Wait, when the hell did I know this? I know that House Sourback offered their help to the Grapaks, and the late Helen Grapak seems to have accepted the offer. I suspect that you were responsible for his death as well. Okay, let's save that first. Toriana Grapak, a member of your family, orchestrated an assassination attempt against me here in my own palace, and though he has already been found dead, his act of treason enough to forever brand your house as traitors. Mocking whispers creep through the crowd. Toriana is trembling faintly. She still does not raise her head, perhaps out of fear of meeting her fate face to face. Okay, the seneschal hardened gaze softens, an elusive gesture visible only to you, conveying the message. Toriana Grapak is guilty only of her own poor judgment. Let's do this. Macari Sourback, your over-contempt towards me is reason enough to implicate you in the conspiracy. The crowd remains silent, with only their tense, anxious gaze darting back and forth between you and Macarius. Sourback's brows rise higher, and you notice his jaw working nervously. Amalot narrows his eyes and scrutinizes Macarius Sourback and his retinue standing behind him. For a second, his sharp eye seems to have caught sight of something, only to lose track of it the next moment. A disappointed sigh tells you it could be Sourback, but he's not. Is he really the one behind this? Okay, so Sourback has something to do with this. Let's do this, well. Sourback furrows his brow and slightly cocks his head. He averts his gaze for the first time, as if trying to remember or make sense of something. You notice some restless movements behind him. He's not aware of the things. So it is definitely a Sourback, but it's not the Sourback. So somebody's maybe under Macarius is doing something. Amalot's eyes narrows his eyes and scrutinizes Macarius Sourback and his retinue standing behind him. His sharp eyes light up when he catches sight of something important and hidden in the crowd. The seneschal looks at you and nods, as if to say, the puppeteer has given himself away. Pronounce the verdict. In the conspiracy against the rogue trader, I find the air in the room is frozen with a tense, almost electrified silence. All the nobles, some with fear and others with reverent anticipation, awaits your verdict. So it's definitely not the head. You know what? Let Seneschal do the whole thing. Abelard steps forward and stares intently at House Sourback's patriarch. Macarius, I must admit, I have always admired your bluntness, but just as I once had to say goodbye to a promotion because of my dislike for intrigue, you and your family might soon say goodbye to your heads. Tell me, now, in your blunt fashion, are you loyal to House Bonfalancius? The Sourback narrows his eyes, grimacing. I am loyal, Wasarian. Abelard studies Sourback and suddenly nods. You are not lying, but someone else is. Someone who is poised to destroy both you and your family for her own gain. What? Macarius does not have time to respond. Regina? Regina? Her wife? His wife? Who is standing beside him, raises her arm as if to slap the elderly seneschal. Abelard deftly catches her wrist, stopping her hand right in front of his face. Her dainty hand is adorned with a massive augmentic ring topped with a thin spike dripping with venom. So it was her. Okay. Sourback shifts his confused gaze from his wife to Abelard, then back again. The stiff arrogance has vanished from his posture. Regina, you? Mother, upon realizing what has happened, Hector recoils from his mother. Macarius, your bluntness makes you an open book. When I talk about helping the Grapox, you have no idea what I was referring to. Your wife, on the other hand, her eyes started to shift like you would not believe. Regina Sourback, you alone betrayed the rogue trader, jeopardizing the prosperity of the von Valencius dynasty, and you alone are responsible for your unmasking. Regina, why would you do this? Like the spike in her ring, Regina's words are dripping with poison and rage, because Dargonus is serving an impostor. The true heir of the Protectorate bears a different name. When Kunrat appeared on Dargonus, he paid me a visit and opened my eyes to the truth of the situation. Theodora was killed by one of whom she had so unwarily taken under her wing. Macarius is too narrow-minded to even consider opposing the rogue trader, even an illegitimate one, so I have to wait for the right moment, and the disappearance of the Lord Captain could not have come at a better time. It was quite simple to trigger a chain of events on Dargonus so that the people remember Master Voidbeer's past service. It seems that many of your subjects do not actually consider you a worthy successor. Why the Wasarians? Because when stripped of the Seneschal's protection, this house is the weakest one on all of Dargonus, and they are also practically disliked by the governor's family. It would have been easy to bury the Wasarians under the accusation of heresy. Who aided you? There's no way you managed to do this on your own. Oh, of course I didn't. I have too many helpers to list them all, but rest assured there are plenty of them. Just as there are plenty of people who follow Master Voidbeer. My death will not change anything. The true rogue trader will come and take his rightful place when the time is right. Why do you kill Helen Grapak? Helen was a good agent, but he was also a coward. He came to me just before our formidable rogue trader arrived. He was ready to confess everything. I suggest that he plead for the Emperor's forgiveness first, and he did grant him mercy, did he not? Abelard, the sentence has yet to be carried out. Finish this. Abelard turns his gaze towards you. Does the rogue trader condemn only the rotten apple or the entire barrel? I will not exterminate an entire noble line that is loyal to me just because of one traitor. In that case, Regina Sourback shall be subjected to intense interrogation followed by an execution. Traitor's reign. A ring that fires a single liquefire shot can only use once per combat. Also, it's basically like the Sun Ring. By the order of Rogue Trader, Regina Sourback is sentenced to death for heresy and crimes against the von Valencius trade dynasty. When a noble dispersed, sated by the bloody performance, Abelard approaches you, his steps firm. Lord Captain, you have my thanks. A rogue trader should not waste his time on matters that his servants and trustees can resolve, but in this case, your intervention was necessary, not just for the sake of my family, but for your trade dynasty as well. Sourback, Regina Sourback. Evidently, Conrad's accomplices continue to plot against your protectorate. I feel we have not heard the rest of the such scoundrels. Okay. Thanks to you, Lord Captain, House Wasarian is safe, although it came close to being wiped out as a result of scheming without an imprudence within. Abelard pauses for a moment, staring off into the distance. Sometimes I think about how much I could teach them. I could ensure that they survive in the future without me. You and your family must be prepared for the next time something like this happens. What are you going to do now? I need time to reflect on what happened and the role I played in it. I think I will be ready to resume this conversation later when we are back on board the ship. Abelard bows to you deferentially and turns away, lost in thought. Okay. I don't think I can do anything else now. Let's go. Yeah, it's practically nothing now. Now let's talk to Clementia. Nothing. Henrix. Yeah, there's nothing. So let's get out here.